This is the new, or so they say, Mazda 6. Now, no offense Mazda, but your evolutionary changes seem more like a mild facelift. But let's not start off on the wrong foot. Here's a list of all the positives about this car.
First of all, like all Mazdas designed according to the Kodo concept, also Mazda 6 is a visually appealing car. Interior feels solid, active lane assist can be disabled permanently, speed limits are clearly displayed on the dashboard, top trim gets heated and cooled seats as well as heated steering wheel. There is good legroom in the back, and in rear armrest storage compartment there is a 2.1 amp fast charging USB port.
Remember all these positives so that you don't think I'm only bad-mouthing Mazda 6. This car is powered by a 2.5-liter petrol engine which works with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Nice and simple, 194 horsepower and nothing. Apparently this car does 0 to 100 km per hour in around 8 seconds, but to be honest, a 1.6 Renault Talisman or a 1.4 B8 Volkswagen Passat can do that as well. To be fair, the 2-liter Mazda 6 is even slower, especially with an automatic gearbox. However, many competitors these days offer double clutch transmissions, which make their cars just as fast or faster than the manual variants.
Theoretically, Mazda 6 has a sport mode and you can shift gears manually, but overtaking is always unpleasant. It's better to follow that lorry in the front. At least you'll burn less petrol. The best I got was about 7 liters per 100 kilometers extra urban versus 7 combined Mazda promises. That's about 33 mpg.
What about cruising on the motorway? This is something that viewers brought to my attention after my previous Mazda 6 review. It's quite loud inside, there is a noticeable wind and tire noise, and it spoils driving pleasure.
Driver aids also spoil driving pleasure. For years Mazda was a driver's car, and I suspect engineers did everything to avoid introducing too many driver aids, thus delaying R&D. Until they had to implement something, and now adaptive cruise control or active lane assist feel like first-gen systems in other cars a few years ago.
Let's take Volkswagen Touareg as an example. I know it's a different segment of a car and price-wise as well, but it's got Volkswagen's all-new tech. I drove it on twisty mountain roads and driver aids worked with me, for me, not against me. Meanwhile, active lane assist in Mazda 6 is twitchy at best. Good news is I can disable it permanently. There's just an orange light on the dashboard.
Or adaptive cruise control. In this generation it works from standstill, something the previous generation couldn't do. Brilliant in traffic on the motorway. Not quiet, as it brakes abruptly and the car will not start moving again when the car in front moves. Some competitors can do that. When driving with speed and distance set, cruise control starts braking at the same time it indicates it reached the set distance from the car in front. In other cars, I get a distance warning before my car starts braking, letting me change lane without changing speed.
All this constant changing of speed and correcting of my line triggers the attention monitor. I'm not tired, I'm just irritated.
Steering is also like cotton wool. What happened to Jinbai Tai? The only thing that remained is the feeling that the cockpit is somewhat tight. Mazda 6 is a large car and yet I always feel claustrophobic inside. And the seat is too high. Something's off.
This is a general observation about all cars, not just Mazda 6. What's the point of having a red line these days, since there is a limiter anyway? And a soft limiter at that, which you may not notice when shifting in manual mode. So here we go, drop a couple of gears. And that's it.
Since we're talking instruments, I'll go back to the graphic presentation of speed limits. Mazda reads road signs, like many cars do, but it displays more than just the speed limit. There's also a red outline showing you how much over the limit you're driving. I like that because it's clear and useful. Presenting data like this is possible because the speedo is now a display, even though it looks like an analog dial. You can see information from the trip computer or driver aids. The latter can also be repeated on HUD, which is now on the windscreen rather than on a plastic plate coming up from the dash. Otherwise, changes inside include the door handles, probably upholstery design is new as well. Interior is practical with cup holders, average size storage under the armrest, and in the glove box there's a shelf for your smartphone at the bottom of the center console. USB ports are unfortunately under the armrest, so you have to drag the cable along the tunnel.
Mazda still pushes the old MZD Connect system, which as far as UX goes is pretty much up there with Lexus, meaning it's that bad. To sweeten the deal, Mazda now allows retroactive installation of Android Auto on all cars with MZD Connect. That will cost you around €300 as a dealer-installed option. It includes a software update as well as replacement of some cables and a USB port. MZD Connect is so bad, I wouldn't recommend the Mazda to anyone, so get your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Negotiate with the dealer. For €40,000 you can get a car with much better factory infotainment. The infotainment screen also displays a 360-degree camera view, as seen here. The only problem is that the image quality is like on your first color Nokia phone. Sure, it works, so why change it? But I suspect you don't use a Nokia anymore, but probably a new Samsung.
Mazda6 Sedan has almost 8 cm longer wheelbase than the estate version. In my Mazda6 estate review, I pointed out legroom was average and a taller driver would make things even worse. It's much better in the sedan, but here falling roofline eats into the headroom. There are air vents in the middle but no third zone climate control. The armrest houses seat heater controls, weird place, and 2 fast charging USB ports. Back seat splits 30-70, but some genius placed the release handles in the boot. So we open the boot with some effort. The release handles are here, but now you have to go back to fold the backrest. Good, there's a flat loading area. At 480 liters, Mazda6 boot is smaller than that in Renault Talisman, Ford Mondeo, Volkswagen Passat, and of course Skoda Superb. And there is more, or rather less. There are no shopping bag hooks or even anchor points for an elastic net to secure your luggage. Poor show. Now let's take a step back and look at the changes. The grille is definitely larger and there are new headlamps with integrated fog lights. In the back, boot lid is new. Apparently, there are larger and more spread out exhaust tips. All engine variants, that's 2.5-liter petrol, 2-liter petrol and 2.2-liter diesel, are WLTP rated and Euro 6D temp compliant. Mazda also made a number of small changes to the suspension, which should make it handle better, but as far as I can tell, it handles unremarkably.
It's not an ugly car, and it's not a bad car. It's just a mediocre car, one you choose because you need to get from A to B, rather than the one you want to take on a back road to get somewhere later, but with a smile on your face.
And this is my take on the 2018 Mazda 6. Have you considered buying one? Or maybe you own the previous generation. How is it to live with? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Also help me make better videos by contributing to my Patreon or PayPal, links below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.